Hi.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to have 10 siblings. I drew the short stick. Here we go. I was tasked with writing and presenting this eulogy before my mother died. So I started reluctantly writing. One night I asked my son Caleb to listen to my rough draft and tell me what he thought. He quietly listened and said, "Mom, come on, brother. Mom, it's good, but you don't sound like a grieving daughter." And he was right, because I couldn't imagine a world without my mother in it. And when she died, I then realized that I could never truly express in words who she was in this world. Who she was to me, to all my siblings, to her husband, her whole family, and all her friends. Words could never express how gracefully she moved in this world, how thoughtfully she pondered all the mysteries of life, and how fiercely she loved all living things with everything she had and more. How could I relate to people how she could simultaneously make you feel adored in one moment and cut you to the quick in the next? And you couldn't help but see the faith and love that moved behind all her intentions. What words could explain how she could walk into a room and immediately own it with love and passion and pure fun? But looking around this room, I see all the people she knew who loved her soul, who saw her at her weakest and her strongest moments. So to those people, this is simply a reminder and a sampling of who Judith LePlume was in this world. So today, we gather here to remember the life of an extraordinary woman, Judith LePlume, mother to 11 40-plus grandchildren, your wife, your sister, your aunt, your meme, your friend, your healer, your confidant. Judith, a devout Catholic and a free-spirited old hippie, who somehow managed to weave together her intense love for God, nature, philosophy, good food, hard work, and her family into a magnificent tapestry of life that was uniquely and fiercely her own. Judith was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts to Claire and Roland Beacott and was the second oldest of four, Deborah, Judy, Jeffrey, and Nancy. Right from birth, she was truly beautiful, both inside and out. I know that phrase is used a lot, but it was so true with her. The way she described herself to me as a child was that she was constantly in awe, constantly disheveled, and always pondering the meaning of life. She was a lover of all creatures, great and small, and saw the good in everyone, even if they were unkind to her. As she grew, so did her physical beauty and love of unconventional thinking, which inevitably created some outlandish circumstances. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention her faithful companion and fearless leader in many of these wild escapades, her dear sister and best friend, Auntie Debbie. But alas, these two hippie beauties survived the 70s against all odds and remained close until the end of our mother's life. My mother always had an array of interesting jobs. She loved learning, and with her beauty and brain, she was capable of anything. She married her first boyfriend and neighbor, my father, Richard, and had me. She then married my stepfather and also childhood friend, Russell, where I met my first sister, Melanie, his daughter. As youth, they all, quote, ran the streets, as my mother would say, and had their share of dramas and extraordinary events. But Judith and Russell eventually threw off the old wild ways and together embarked on a whole new journey. It was like our mother had one foot in Woodstock and the other firmly planted in the pew. This, of course, was an integral part of the love story between Russell and Judith, especially since Russell actually did attend Woodstock, well, as far as he remembers. So these two Jimi Hendrix-loving and soul-searching kids decided to go off-grid and homestead in the country. When they finally realized their shared passion and their love of faith, farming, and family, there was no stopping them. They bucked the system, embraced the chaos, learning as they went, for better or worse. Together, they fought addictions, found God, found themselves, built their homes from the ground up. They farmed, had many babies, grew their own food, made their own tinctures, ran pro-life organizations, taught CCD classes, took in foster kids, fresh air kids, and every stray my mother encountered that she gave shelter to. Despite all odds, they grew into best friends, lovers, parents. They shared tears, joys, mistakes, fears, laughs, fights, and the burdens. They shared it all. We all witnessed the devotion they had for each other throughout their life and up until their death. And I am grateful to him for loving my mother with all that he had. Now back to my mother. She was a mother who loved her children and wanted them to be happy forever in heaven. The love that she had for her children and grandchildren was a testament to her unwavering faith and love for life. Now, how she may have expressed that pure sentiment at times may have come across as, say, intense. Only God knows how she could somehow make you feel like you were walking on thin ice one moment and then whisk you away into a warm embrace the next. She poured her heart into raising us. And when she threw back her head and bellowed her infectious laugh, it felt as if all would be right in the world. Our mother was the queen of making something from nothing. We have all benefited from her famous cold and flu and green gold. I know most people in here have a jar somewhere in their home. She believed in putting in the extra effort to create something truly special. She always said, if it's worth doing well. In typical Judith fashion, she took up horseback riding in her 50s. And even though she was thrown many times, she was always able to get back up on the saddle. When she lost her horses, she said that she longed for them like a long-lost lover. When she was sick, my mother said she could still smell the saddle and hear the whinnies, and imagine the trail rides with her dear friends. It was a great joy in her life. Judith could debate philosophy with the best of them, drawing deep connections between faith and nature, often leaving us in awe of her wisdom. I remember her standing on the